Yo, welcome to my favorite albums of 2021 list. I don't really know if anyone cares about these once January hits, but fuck it. New year, new me trying to make shorter videos, so I'm just gonna get right into it. First, some shoutouts of things or projects that, don't really fit into the context of this list for one reason or another. I'd like to shout out Love Shock, which is this net label I just started that's going to be putting out some amazing music this year. We've already put out a couple tracks from the electronic music producer Meishi, so definitely check those out. Links in the description or whatever. I'd also like to shout out St. Haven's Acrylic EP, as well as the Marble Club Collective's Porcelain EP, and I'd also like to shout out Rilo's I'm the Best mixtape, which I didn't include on this list because as her manager, I felt that went against my journalistic conscience or whatever. But trust me, it's really good. Go check it out. She also has a lot of amazing music coming very soon. And here are some honorable mentions. Just a bunch of really amazing projects that also came out in 2021 that I didn't return to quite as much as the ones that made it on the official list. So I put them over here. Hopefully this, no, over here. I can't, yeah. All right, let's just get fucking into it, okay? At number 15, we have Cat's S/////AM3. Six Impala member Cat dropped this insane experimental electronic album in 2021 that fuses techno and trap and bass and Jersey Club into this wild concoction of erratic noise. If you like bonkers electronic music, definitely check this out. At number 14, we have John Glacier's Shiloh Lost for Words.
He only wants to hold me, rise up till the sun goes down. No, he thinks that I'm lonely, I can tell that they love me.
You can't really see the album cover here, but it's there. It's like this sort of thing, like a woman made of stars. But yeah, this is another pretty weird album that comes in the form of British MC John Glacier's brand of glitchy, hallucinatory, lo-fi hip-hop. The rapper delivers this swirling experience across Shiloh's tracklist, dropping bars with heavy amounts of vocal effects over these unpredictable beats courtesy of renowned electronic producer Vegan. This album feels kind of enclosed while simultaneously evoking this kind of astral projection. It's really cool. At number 13, we have Turnstile's Glow On.
And it's been so long.
Raucous riffs and cathartic breakdowns, glorious euphoric hooks, fun genre and instrumental switch-ups, spacey, huge vocal performances, Dev Hynes cameos. This was the hardcore album of 2021. For me, no question. At number 12, we have 9920 Deadline by Roses Leaves.
We were both trying our best, yeah. At some point it got way too much.
UK singer-songwriter-producer Roses Leaves, founder of the Sewer Brats collective and key member of the hyperpop digicore SoundCloud music space, managed to do something different from his contemporaries on 9920 Deadline. The album contains a bold mixture of indie and electronic hyperpop-esque aesthetics that are folded into the artist's characteristic ghostly soundscape style. This album is ethereal as hell, and it creates this mystical atmosphere to go along with Roses Leaves' poignant songwriting. And from a scene that's filled to the brim with eardrum-destroying synths and drums, it's a pleasant change of pace to listen to something that can wash over you. Roses Leaves, already in his young career, has a remarkable grasp of tone and pace, qualities that should serve him well into the future. At number 11, we have Guildbag 3 by Wasted Youth. There is a surfeit of Drain Gang offspring with a ton of artists bringing that atmospheric trap style and drained out vocal delivery across the SoundCloud universe. The peeps from the Boys Night Out squad probably get the most recognition, but I'm here to put some respect on Wasted Youth's name. As a vocalist, Wasted Youth has this immediately recognizable delivery that stands out with a high-pitched soprano. His flow, lyrics, and rhyme schemes, when you can understand them, are immensely gratifying to listen to. And his production infuses this psychedelic concoction of trap and electronic elements. On Guildmag 3, Wasted Youth creates these punchy drum patterns that cut through the atmospheric soundscapes, and he layers his vocals in such a way that they sort of float like a river across the tracklist. He builds great anticipation with his instrumentals, using dynamic beat making as a songwriting tactic to accompany these dreamy worlds. If there is any Drain type music that's not Drain Gang that you should be listening to, it's Wasted Youth. At number 10, we have Recovery Girl's Recovery Girl and Friends mixtape. Recovery Girl, the pop vocal alias of electronic producer Galen Tipton, released 3 projects in 2021, one of which was the fantastic desk pop released Recovery Girl and Friends mixtape. Alright, off the bat, let's just talk about these features. We got DV Knots, Diana Starshine, Pedal Supply, GFOTY, Mood Killer, Little Moriko, Space Candy, 99 Jakes, Rui Ho, who is on my 2020 albums list, by the way, Puto Chino Morricone, Atlas Mo, Dynastic, Tyler Lee Jones, New Sylveon, Elfie, Shady Monk, and more, with a track produced by Umru and Bean Boy. Like, what the fuck? Just an epic assortment of talent, and everyone comes together to produce some of the best, most catchy, insane pop music of 2021. The production is dirty, crunchy, and versatile, often incorporating hard rock into the electronic chaos. And the hooks are like earworms that just wiggle around in your brain as the beats pound your skull into dust. Needless to say, it's amazing and I love it. At number 9, we have Mercurial World, I think is how you pronounce it, by Magdalena Bay. Mercurial World by Magdalena Bay. Mercurial. I had to warm up to this one a bit. I'm not sure why. I think maybe I initially lumped Magdalena Bay into the swath of synth-based indie bands out there. But after a few listens of Mercurial World, I really became hooked by the duo's impeccable songwriting. Their mixture of 2000s pop melodies with funk and indie aesthetics wrapped in this 80s synth-pop presentation is transfixing. The melodies are catchy, the production is sleek, refined, and gorgeous, and the vocal performances are really strong. It's just a really tight, fun, effortlessly cool album from top to bottom. At number 8, we have Gami Gang by Origami Angel. I love this album. I really do. I really, really do. I love it so much. Fucking emo bliss. Origami Angel, a duo from Washington, D.C., exceeded every expectation set by their debut and then some, delivering an explosive hour-long emo record with anthemic, catchy hooks and melodies, chonky riffs, and stunning mathy guitar licks. Origami Angel masterfully mixes hardcore-esque abrasiveness with light emo pop songwriting. It's super fun, it's exhilarating, it knows what it is and isn't ashamed of it. It's awesome stuff. At number 7, we have Snail Mail's Valentine. Snail Mail's last full-length, Lush, was my favorite album of 2018, so my expectations going into this one were both high and low at the same time. I wanted it to be as good, if not better, than the first, but kind of expected it to be worse. I am very glad that it was the former, and I think I can confidently say that I actually like it more than Lush, which is crazy to think about because I listened to that album so much when it came out a few years ago. But looking back at that project, while every song is good for sure, it kind of seems like the bangers sort of overshadow the rest of the track list a little bit, and I really feel like Valentine is much more consistent. And it also just feels way more epic. Lindsey Jordan's songwriting on Valentine feels grander in scope, which is what a second album should do. But instead of faltering in its own ambitions, it manages to execute across the board. The instrumentation is more diverse, and the arrangements are layered and fleshed out with detail. Lush feels almost bare bones by comparison, and while that isn't necessarily a bad thing, it just leaves less of an impact than what I currently get with Valentine. On this new album, the raw emotion, indelible melodies, and indie rock charm are still very much there, but they're presented in a more compelling package than they are on Lush, in my opinion. The guitars hit harder, and it feels like they try to hit harder too, and Lindsey sounds so ferocious here. I really dig it. At number 6, we have Slime Koro by Frogman. Imagine if you took the physical manifestations of the songwriting styles of Yasutaka Nakata, A.G. Cook, and Playboi Carti, threw them in a pot, dumped in a barrel of LSD, put the whole thing on fire, put out the fire, picked up the resultant ash, then ate the ash. Whatever experience that would create in your brain probably resembles what it's like listening to Slime Koro, the debut album from mysterious rapper-producer Frogman. Slime Koro, which was released by Dismiss Yourself Records, is one of the most anarchic projects I've heard in a long time, mixing J-pop, psychedelia, half-rap, half-ad-lib vocal deliveries, and Pierreborn-type trap beats into this magnificent, colorful, stupendously weird concoction. It's hard to comprehend Slime Koro. From a presentation standpoint, it's hard to grasp onto, and then the mysteriousness surrounding the album and its creator make it even more elusive. But the big question marks surrounding the album make it just that much more compelling and interesting of a listening experience, so I highly recommend. At number 5, we have Delete Zeke's Teen Week and Frailty. Teen Week, Frailty, Teen Week, Frailty. That was the big question as I was making this list, and I couldn't choose, so I just went with both. Teen Week was for me the first true digicore album because of its thematic and aesthetic cohesion and the way it represented the scene to the rest of the world as a package and full body of work. It's a really, really good project with lots of really good songs, and it fully displayed Zeke's ability to embed their tremendous songwriting talents into the crazy digicore hyperpop electronic aesthetics. And then Frailty expanded on the blueprint Zeke created by veering into more indie rock influences and incorporating J-pop, video game music, post-punk, and shoegaze into their typically noisy electronic framework. Both projects contain a lot of cacophonous noise, but Frailty uses its length to build a journey in and out of those enveloping soundscapes, using this one melodic motif throughout to create a sense of comfort and familiarity within an often dark emotional experience. You know the one. Boo doo 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 doo. Zeke, at 18 years old, pioneered a music movement twice in 1 year, and I'm immensely excited to see what their career is going to look like and what amazing music they'll bring along the way. At number 4, we have Fishmonger by Underscores.
So ask me how I'm doing and I'll spit it out like cinnamon. Bozo, 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 better speak up. Tiptoeing around the block, I didn't see it.
With Fishmonger, Underscores catapulted themselves into hyperpop scene glory, and for good reason. It's an absolute marvel how seamlessly this album mixes pop and punk and indie with electronic instrumentals. And there are just so many amazing, memorable songs on here. Underscores is an incredible songwriter and performer. Their hushed vocal delivery brings you in close, creating this intimate atmosphere around these immensely catchy, instrumentally creative pop songs that'll have you returning again and again. There are, of course, bangers on Fishmonger, but it's with the more quiet, gentle songs like Where Did You Fall and the Fish Song that Underscores displays just how much range they have. When listening to those songs, it's hard to believe that they came from the same person making crazy electronic bangers with Six Impala. But that's Underscores for you, the perfect representation of this current generation of artists who can try as many things as they possibly want and use the power of their laptops to do just that. At number 3, we have Drive-By Lullabies by Osquin.
You gon' have to kill me if you want me. Put down your guns and approach me slowly. Black suit, camouflage, can't see shit.
There are many breathtaking moments across Osquin's debut album, Drive-By Lullabies, but the song that truly made me go, what the fuck, this was made by a 17-year-old, was Silly. The song combines this repeated xylophone melody with a nostalgic piano arpeggio and multiple layers of vocals on the chorus singing in a round. It's minimal but immensely effective and a wondrous display of Quinn's mature songwriting. It also just makes me just go what the fuck was I doing at 17 years old? Certainly not this. Certainly not this. I certainly was not doing this at 17 years old. But Silly is just one of many incredible songs across Drive-By Lullabies, which is this album that threads its disparate aesthetics with a consistently harrowing tone. The project bounces from idea to idea with little regard for cohesive juxtaposition, but it works. For example, From Paris with Love contains the album's most digicore-esque section on the first verse, with its ghoulish trap beat and cold rap delivery, but it's bookended by these blaring, Clarence Clarity-esque synths before breaking down into demonic EDM growls. The song Change That is a contemplative, emotive pop R&B song over a two-step instrumental. And Coping Mechanism is like an electronic, auto-tuned indie post-punk track, while 12-25-18 is this mic-inspired, sample-heavy experimental hip-hop song. This album is all over the place, but it keeps you hooked throughout as it brings you into Quinn's interior world. At 17 years old, Quinn is already defying expectations. Instead of sticking down the hyperpop digicore route, she's paving her own musical path, refusing to conform to any standards that people may have set for her. She has a long career ahead of her, and it's immensely exciting to see where she's going to go next. At number 2, we have Romeo by Sega Bodega.
So it's your boy, I just wanna find sky. Look at the fallen angel Agor, simmer and below, let go. So it's your boy, I just wanna find sky.
Considering how talented singer-songwriter-producer Sega Bodega is, I was left a bit underwhelmed by his last full-length, Salvador. The production work was great, of course, but a lot of the songwriting lacked the kind of immediacy I so often crave. On Romeo, this is no longer an issue. Every track on the album stands out as its own special experience, with none lagging behind the other. And while Bodega traverses a variety of genres and songwriting styles throughout Romeo, he creates a thread across the tracklist with this overarching, surrealist tone and presentation. Romeo feels like a dream. One of the most striking elements about this album is the way Bodega uses vocals to create this kind of subconscious experience. On a song like Angel on My Shoulder, you have different vocal processing stacked on top of each other, panning across the mix to create this enveloping soundscape. On Effeminacy, Bodega uses vocal manipulation not only to create catchy melodies, but to evoke an almost disassociation. It sounds like there are multiple personalities competing against each other on the song. And on the deeply emotional I Need Nothing From You, he uses vocal layering to create these angelic harmonies and heavenly atmosphere. The whole album feels like it's existing on different planes of existence, which would make sense given that a few tracks are in reference to friends who passed away. The masterpiece track for example, is about the late, great Sophie. But for an album that often comes across unstable in its experimental production and structural choices, there's something about the instrumentation of each track that feels remarkably full and balanced. The drums, the bass, the vocals, the synths, they all synthesize with each other to create this impeccable listening experience. For me, Romeo represents the true power of these singer-songwriter producer albums, where a beatmaker can create entire worlds directly from their imagination into their DAWs. There's no interference, direct creative expression. I'm in awe of this album. Ugh. We made it. We made it. Oh my god, we made it somehow. Alright, let's do it. At number 1, we have Sensational by Erica de Cassier.
That you know better, better than that. I can do better, better than that. Thought I'd come, baby, no.
This album from the Danish singer-songwriter-producer, which was released by 4AD, is one of those magical albums that can be played in many different contexts. Throw it on during a car ride and soak in its blissful, airy demeanor. Play it at a gathering with friends and let it meld into the background and create a perfect vibe with its smooth, gentle R&B atmosphere. Or take a close listen with headphones and grow to love and appreciate its immaculate production, intoxicating, lush instrumental textures, Erica's hushed, suave vocals, and its lavish integration of Y2K R&B aesthetics with elements of UK garage, techno, and Sade-esque soul sophisti-pop. Sensational's genre references have been one of its biggest selling points, and for good reason. Erica nails the various aesthetic callbacks without it ever feeling like nostalgia pandering. The album, despite its love for older sounds, feels strikingly contemporary. From a pandemic standpoint, it feels like an album written by someone ruminating on their past mistakes and reflecting on their future desires while isolated from the world. It blends temporalities, using formative genres of the past to help build modern soundscapes that exist in a clear, lacking present. So I guess in a way it is very nostalgic, but not in a surface level aesthetic way where the single point is that it's a throwback. Rather, Erica uses nostalgia to flesh out her songwriting and captivating artistic persona. With some artists, you take away the references and you're left with nothing. But with Erica, the references act as a tool, not a crutch. I returned to Sensational more than any other album this year. It's beautiful, it's catchy, it spoils you with layers of detail from minute production flourishes to the pervasive synthetic harpsichord that represents the album's primary aesthetic thread. This is one I'll return to again and again for a long time. It calls to the past, it points to the future, and in the process, it becomes timeless. Oh man, I forgot to put the... Oh boy. Oh boy. I am done. That's it. That's the list. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I didn't have fun making it. I never do. I don't know. I don't know why I insist on continuing to do this, but anyway. I do hope you got something out of this, or you got put onto some interesting cool music or whatever. I don't know. Or you just, came to support me, if that's cool too. If you're my buddy, hi buddy, hi friends. This has been my list of albums of last year. We're now in 2022, so maybe, it took me a while to formulate this list. I listened to, I had like a short list, of maybe like 30 something albums that starting back in November, I started like listening through them all, like over and over and over again to try to, make an accurate list that I thought represented like my true taste of this last year. And it just took so long to finally, write out a script and get in front of this camera and do this. So, yeah. Everyone, thank you for watching. I love you. And goodbye.